If you've been following the channel for a little while, you know that I speak very highly of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I think for the money, it's just an amazing entry level and honestly professional quality camera that just gives amazing results for the price point that it's offered at. And today's gonna be no different. I'm back again testing this camera and just pushing it to the limits and trying to see how much I can push out of this little $500 camera. My goal for this week is to find some people that have some really awesome cars around Atlanta and just film a whole bunch of car rollers. This is something completely out of my comfort zone, something that I've never honestly done before, but I've seen on TikTok a lot of people doing just this, and I want to see if me as a complete beginner in this regard can pick this camera up, pick up these couple of little accessories, and make some dope clips out of it. I won't even really call this a rig because it's really not a rig, I guess. It's more of just a mount that I'm building out because there's really not that many pieces. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that you need. The first is a car mount, and even though the Osmo Pocket is only $500, I don't want to lose this thing on the side of the road or the interstate or wherever we end up filming at. So I did invest pretty heavily in a really good car mount. And this one is by Newer. And I have a bunch of their stuff. Okay, there we go. We got focus. It's got like a cheese plate kind of thing on the top. And then it has like a little suction button. Basically, you stick it to the side of your car, press the suction button until you can't see this little white line anymore, and then that's when you know that it has like the best suction, I guess. And then it also came with like a little magic arm to mount your camera on top of. The little magic arm thing is not the best quality, so let me actually grab it so you can see it. I'm sure you guys have seen these before. Basically like a quarter mount on each side, but this thing's a piece of trash. At least the one that mine came with, garbage. I would not trust this with holding my camera. So my plan is to put a quick release plate on here and then slide the Osmo Pocket into this. Now the only other part of the mount, if you will, is I got these little like tension cables. Basically, this is a fail-safe if this comes disconnected from my car. All right, so the instructions say that this needs to be attached to a clean surface. Obviously, my truck is not clean right now, but before we go out and film, I'll make sure that I actually properly clean this. But for the sake of just this demonstration, I just kind of dusted off a little space. So all you do is just apply some pressure to the mount and then just press this little red button a bunch of times. The white line that was here before, you can't see it, and it says that when that white line is not visible, that's when you know that it has the best suction. And this is shaking my whole truck. it's not going anywhere. Now to take it off, all you do is there's like little notches right here that you can just grab and it'll release. My truck actually has little mounting hooks right here, and my plan is to weave this in here, and then I'll attach the other end of this cable to this little hook. This makes it so that if this thing falls off while I'm driving, it'll just hang right there, and my camera may get dinged up a little bit, but it's better than it just falling in the highway and getting ran over. So again, trying to be safe about everything, trying to get some cool stuff for you guys to look at, but also want to be safe and conscious of everything else going on around me. So the last thing that I want to do before we get into the actual part where we're filming the cars and all the exciting stuff is show you how I'm going to be maneuvering the Osmo from inside the truck. And I actually have never done this before myself. I've never used the app myself. So we're going to walk through this together. So if you want to do this, you're going to download the DJI Mimo app and you open it up. And we're gonna click devices in the top left. And right now it is searching for DJI devices. And I'm gonna turn on the Osmo, and it'll probably take a couple of minutes here. And I'm just gonna click connect. Now there's some numbers on the Osmo, and it wants me to accept it. I'm going to accept it, and now it's asking to join on Wi-Fi on my phone. Click join, and that's probably it. All right, so the thing that we care most about is active track. All you do is just drag a box over whatever you want to track. And right now I'm tracking the camera. So now the Osmo is gonna keep the camera completely in focus. All right, first of all, it's a couple days later and I'm a little bit nasally, but we gotta talk about this. This shoot went so amazing, bro. It was amazing. I reached out to a couple of guys over on Instagram, just basically looking for anybody that had some dope looking cars in Atlanta. And I ended up meeting up with this one guy, and he told me that he may have like 1 or 2 cars be able to come out, right? So we show up to the shoot and he's like, I got some heat for you. He wouldn't tell me what cars were coming, but he was like, you're gonna be surprised and it's gonna be everything that you're looking for. So I'm like trusting this guy that I just met to make sure that like I got some dope stuff to actually shoot with the Osmo. And I think the first thing that pulled up was a bagged Mustang, I think. And then a Corvette comes, and then an AMG comes, and then old school Porsche comes. And then one of the last things to pull up was, I think it was a Charger. It was either a Charger. Yeah, it was a Charger, I think. And it had like miniguns mounted to the side of it. And everybody that I met was just so cool. But all of that stuff aside, let's talk about how the Osmo performed and the results. Now, obviously you saw some clips of the Osmo in action at the very beginning of this video, but I want to tell you guys a little bit about my experience with the camera, how I feel like it did, what were positives, negatives. So basically I wanted to make this video with the mindset that the Osmo is a very attainable, entry-level-esque camera. It does not produce entry-level results, but it is entry-level from the fact that it is so cheap. And if you're somebody that's looking into getting into videography, or you want to make car rollers, or maybe you and your buddies have dope cars and y'all want some reels of the cars, if you know just absolutely nothing about videography, can you just buy what you need, mount it to the side of a car, and go out and film? That's the mindset that I wanted to have with this video, and ultimately the mindset that I had, because there were a lot of learning curves that I had to get over very quickly while I was out with all these amazing cars, and I want to tell you about them right now. All right, so let's talk about the actual mount of the Osmo on my truck and how it held up. First of all, it did not fall off. We even ran through some puddles. There was some rain here and there. That mount is not going anywhere. Completely, wholeheartedly recommend that mount because it was absolutely amazing. I will recommend you get a different little mounting arm to attach to the Osmo, because the one that it comes with is kind of cheap. But other than that, 10 out of 10. Just to give you an understanding of how I made this happen, I actually was not driving during any of this, because I was actually in the bed of my truck with my FX6, and I was getting some test clips with the FX6, because this will be my next video that I'll post. I'll be comparing the Osmo Pocket footage to the FX6 footage of these cars. So be on the lookout for that as well. But could I have been driving? Absolutely, if I was not trying to record with the FX6. It's very simple. Like I explained earlier on in this video, all you do is just draw a little box around the car that you're trying to track, and the Osmo pretty much does everything for you by itself. The active track is just absolutely spot on. One limitation that I did find was that if you're tracking a car and it starts a little bit behind you and then it speeds up and goes past you, sometimes the Osmo camera was not able to smoothly pan all the way over from the car starting from the back of you and going ultimately passing you. I'll put a couple examples on screen right now just so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But I noticed a couple of little hiccup movements in the active track, and I've seen the active track do that before in a couple of clips that I've recorded using active track. So I'm not sure if this is like something that they can fix with a firmware update, but it's like if the camera moves too quickly, it loses sight of what it's trying to track or whatever, and then it catches it again and it makes this like little wobble effect.
which ultimately ruined some of my clips, to be completely honest. The only other thing that I think I would have done differently is use the lens modifier to make my lens just a little bit wider. I shot everything on day one. I actually got to go and shoot some more stuff with this, and it'll be, it's like a souped up white Tesla. And you guys will have seen footage of this by now, but day one, when I had all the other cars, I shot everything horizontally, and we were on a 2-lane highway, and I still felt like I was too close to the cars. And if I sped up any and put distance between us, then the car is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller in the frame. And I wanted the car to fill up the majority of the frame, obviously, but ultimately, like how we were filming, it just cut off a lot of the car. All in all, 10 out of 10. Let me know if y'all want me to film any more car rolls. I actually had an amazing time. I brought my cousin along with me, and it was really, really fun. Everyone that I met was amazing, and I'm actually going to some big car meetups later on this year to film some of that stuff too. So if seeing like souped up sports cars, all that type of stuff sounds interesting to you, definitely let me know if you want me to continue to post this, or if that's something that you might want me to post over on Instagram. But speaking of Instagram, make sure you head over there and give me a follow. And the only other thing that I want to beg for you guys to do is visit my apparel line. It's called Creative Being. It's 55 pieces of sweatshirts, hoodies, and t-shirts for photographers and videographers. And if you're watching this video, you probably fall within some of that category. If nothing else, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Girl, I wanna taste the fest, fucked up. Been a couple months since I see my mama. No, I never been the same, and if you wanna, tryna manifest a better tomorrow. Yeah, I ain't scared to die, scared of getting older, scared to hear you.